is, to a point, an anti-car guy car channel. And I just want to talk a little bit about that, right? And answer some questions, right? So, first of all, is this car an anti-car guy channel? I would say no. We just are enthused about different cars. Now, I'm going to try and explain this as best as I can, and you probably get it if you've subbed and liked to this channel. And I'm going to try to transfer to you my love of economy and average everyday Joe cars, right? So let's start off with Jeremy Clarkson explaining car guys to non-car guy people. This is from the excellent channel rumblestrip.net, amazing 14 years ago, and you can hear it, and then I'm going to talk about this afterwards. Just for a little bit, right?
It's what non-car people don't get. They see all cars as just 1.5 tons, 2 tons of wires, glass, metal and rubber. That's all they see. People like you or I know we have an unshakable belief that cars are living entities. Well, not a Toyota Corolla, obviously.
And that's where I disagree. I believe that everyday economy cars have just as much soul as regular cars. For example, the Corolla that he's talking about, let's take a look at this 2010 Toyota Corolla. Specifically this one. Well, 2010 Corollas as a whole. Now, according to Jeremy Clarkson, he may say that this isn't a car that has a soul. This is just a mass-produced piece of garbage. But I would say that this car has a soul, right? Let's say you drive it to work every day. You and that car have an agreement. It gets you there safely. If you're ever in an accident, it will keep you safe, right? And all you give it is oil, tires once a year, and gas, ever so often. And that's your agreement with this car. And I think that that's precious and valuable, with this economy everyday car. It takes you to work every day. It does whatever you need to do, and it will last forever. And to kind of nail home the point, the Toyota Corolla. This is a mid-sized Toyota sedan from about 2012 or so. Let's go way back to 2004, and that's to Toyota's smallest car, the Toyota Echo. Now, Jeremy Clarkson would have you believe, again, I love Jeremy Clarkson. I watch Top Speed, wow, I'm so tired. I watched his show a lot when I was a kid, right? And now, what's Toyota's smallest car from 2004? It's the Toyota Echo. So according to Jeremy Clarkson, right, car guys, this is slap to them, right? They step on these, they eat these for breakfast, right? They're McLaren 720s or whatever. They're McLaren Siennas. Smash these all day, drive over them, pebbles underneath their shoes or whatever. But here's a video that I think explains it perfectly. This is from regular car reviews, and this is Roman talking about the time that he crashed his Echo.
These slow cars like these, you can become attached to. I know it's just a machine, but this was my machine. It's taken me all over Pennsylvania.
And that is what I'm trying to nail into you, right? A car like this has just as much soul as a car like this, right? Because this offers, what does it offer? The peak of engineering, super fast speeds, a good time. And this car takes your kids to school every day, right? Gets hundreds of thousands of miles on it, stays reliable, ready when you need it there, right? Say, evacuation or something, this car is there for you, getting you to work, just the small everyday little things. I think that is just as important, if not more important, than what these bigger, fancier, huge sports cars have to offer. And I think that's something that's incredibly underappreciated in today's society, right? Because there are ridiculous, interesting cars like this, right? And then there are your average, everyday Toyota Corollas. And over the past few years, our society has been shifting to be over-engineered and under-durable, right? That's what we're seeing with newer Toyota Corollas. Like a 2023 Toyota Corolla probably isn't going to last as long as a brand new 2010 Toyota Corolla. Or even one with 100,000 miles. Starting off from that point, the regular Corolla with, no miles on it, I'm sure this one would still last longer. Like I said, over-engineered, under-durable. Like direct injection engines. Direct injection sounds cool, right? It's a feat of engineering, it's interesting, it's new, it's neat. But it's under-durable. It doesn't work all that well. You get deposits, you have to clean out the engine. It technically is more fuel efficient, but that's pretty much all it offers, right? So while these bigger cars are cool, I just think that these cars are cooler. And let's bring it up. When was the first time, to really nail home the point, that I really had that connection with a car? Well, I think even as kids, which a lot of people think I still am, we still have connections with our cars. And for me, I was growing up in an Oregon suburb, the most normal, weird, plain town you would ever think. This wasn't no like Gravity Falls, boring Oregon type garbage. Just a regular, average, everyday suburb. And when I gained consciousness, because remember, I was born in the late great year of 2005, and 2 years later, my family decided to buy a brand new 2007 Honda Odyssey base. And this was the first ever vehicle that I appreciated, right? That I really felt a connection with. Every time that I needed to go on a trip, this car was there. This car drove me to school. This car drove me back from school. This car drove me to soccer practice. This car drove me everywhere I needed it to go, and it was just as reliable as my parents and my entire family needed it to be, going on vacation, take the minivan. This thing was so reliable, and I really felt, one day it had to go off to the wreckers. It was racking up too many miles, 280,000 for this car, and I thought this minivan, this, according to car guys, useless garbage trash minivan has been able to last like 10 years. We got rid of it recently, right? Like more than 14 years, right? A minivan that has lasted an extremely long time, like 17 years. A 17-year-old minivan that has lasted 280,000 miles, bringing a family home whenever they need it, being available, racking up miles, being reliable, is just, in my opinion, worth more than what these big cars can accomplish. So when you look at it at face value, if you look at everything on face value, even good things will seem terrible, right? This Bugatti Veyron, you look at it at face value, it's the feat of engineering, it's the newest thing, right? It's classy, it's cool. And then when you look at something worse, objectively, like this Honda Odyssey, it's slow, it doesn't have the same horsepower numbers, it's not good with torque, the interior doesn't have the same cool metally bits it does in the Veyron, but I still think a less fancy, simple car like this, if it lasts a really long time, does everything you needed to do, you say jump, it says how high, that's more valuable and important to someone, like an everyday daily driver, than something like this. And remember, for my car advice videos, I'm not here to snatch the keys out of your hand and tell you what you should be buying, just giving advice, right? So here's a little test. Which one of these do you think I would rather have? Or which one of these would you rather have, right? A Bugatti, right? The high maintenance, cool, neat engineering of a Bugatti. It will last a decently long time if you keep it in a garage and maintain it as best to your ability, right? Or a 1990s 400,000 mile Toyota Camry that will last you the rest of your life, constantly drives you everywhere you need it to go, and will last truly forever as long as you take care of it, right? Which one do you think is worth more? And to me, it's the Camry. That Camry, it's a lifetime vehicle. It's a realistic vehicle. And it's not just this Camry. I mean, look at this. Look at this. 300,000 miles, 300,000 miles, 400,000 miles, 400,000 miles. 300,000 miles again on a 2007, which is pretty rare, another gas mileage post. But you get it. These cars that last a super long time, I just think they're worth a lot. They're worth that extra security that they bring, right? They're worth that extra value that they get. And I think that's worth more than anything a fancier car like this can provide. And like I said, I'm not saying that these cars are bad. These cars are objectively the latest, hottest, new thing, dual turbos, fanciest V1,000,000 engine that's out there, right? Super smooth, super aggressive, very loud. But I think something as quiet and laid back as a 2008 Toyota Prius would be good. So let's look at the cars that I own, right? If I preach this, garbage to all of my subscribers or whatever, what car do I drive? The fabled, patron saint of everyday cars or whatever. I drive a 2008 Toyota Prius and a 2012 Toyota Prius. And honestly, both those cars, I love them. I love them to death. I would never sell any one of them, right? The 2008 Prius is my donkey, right? If I need to haul anything, fold down the seats, slam the CRT in there, this thing will do it, right? Getting on the freeway, it's a little bit slow on the uptake. Mine's personally a 2008, so it's not that old, only 16 years old, I know. Brand new, and it has about 360,000 miles on it. It's been used several times before and was used as a fleet vehicle before I owned it, which is how it racked up so many of those miles, not really driving on highways such as that, just town commuting in Florida. It's also rusted, which is an issue, and I'm maybe having to deal with that in the next few years. But other than that, it's a great car, and I love this car. Whenever I need to drive, I can take this. Let's say I have like a family member that spills things in the back seats, or kids or something. This car, I know it's going to be safe in an accident, and I know it's going to be durable enough to handle what they do. And when I'm driving into work, and I want heated seats, and I want my screen, I can do my 2012 Toyota Prius, Nice, laid back, relaxed, quiet. that's another thing. People, in these big fancy cars value the big engine noises, right? And I don't really value that as much. As long as the car lasts a decently long time, which obviously proving by my 360,000 mile 2008 Toyota Prius, it can. I think that's just worth more. Now, sure, it's quiet, and I just want to address this about the Prius. A lot of people say that the Prius is slow, and that the Prius is awful, and the Prius is the worst thing. And I think that's just part of car culture. I'm sure Toyota knew that when they were coming out with the Prius, that people weren't necessarily going to like this vehicle, especially with the green reputation that it held. Trust me, I didn't buy these to save the planet or whatever. I just bought them because they were cheap and I knew that they would be good. So the Prius drives in a mushy way. It mashed potatoes. The engine is run through a CVT, which essentially takes all the mightiness, the rumble of the engine and mooshes it out into mashed potatoes that you can't feel, right? You don't get any response. You put the floor down, you turn the steering wheel, you feel nothing. It's just like you're pushing buttons on a keyboard, right? No feedback, no nothing, right? And to make the case even worse, half times the engine, which again, you don't feel anything from, it's just the motor driving, which now you really can't feel anything. And honestly, I appreciate it. I love it. I love it so much. I love the way this thing drives. It's laid back. It's relaxed. On hills. In Oregon, there's a lot of hills. And sometimes, on the back roads, 45-mile-an-hour speed limit, I'll just let it cruise, up the hill, I'll give it some gas, it'll stay in EV mode. Cruising down the hill, it'll reach like 48, go back up the hill, down to 38, and then I'll just watch it slowly cruise as I get home, and the engine probably never even kicked on once while I drive it. And I value that, and I love that, because it may not be the performance beast that's, everyone wants, or everyone's talking about, but I think it truly is worth it just to have something that works, right? Like I said, I say this in my videos a lot, in a car culture and society that undervalues and over-engineers every single car that's put out, I think it's just nice and worth it to pay, a decent amount of money for one of these vehicles. Like my 2012 Toyota Prius, I bought it for like $17,000 in about 2020. I think 2020. Now a lot of people would say, "Oh, that's overpriced. You overpaid." No, not 2020, 2021, because the years work out and it's 16. Anyway, I bought that, like I said, for $17,000, and I would, if I went back, I would pay $2,000 more, $10,000 more. It's a car that works for me, that's reliable, that I know I can trust, and I think that's just worth one of these, right? Because I live in Florida. Well, I used to live in Florida. And in Florida, I had really old people neighbors because it's Florida and half the population is over 75. And they didn't like a loud, noisy car. So me cruising silently down the, center street on the weekends didn't bother them. And quite frankly, I was fine with that. Pulled in the driveway, it got the groceries home, it did what I needed it to do. So let's talk about a car that probably gets crapped on more than the Prius that I'm seeing a lot of people crap on the comments of my videos. And it's the Mitsubishi Mirage. Now, if this channel is an anti-car enthusiast channel, the Mitsubishi Mirage is an anti-car enthusiast car. It is almost zero car enthusiast blood in its veins. First of all, it comes standard with the CVT. They hate them. That CVTs are like the famous... The only reason I don't like CVTs is because they're unreliable a lot of the times. Both my Priuses have been fine. I don't see... Again, I'm not saying anything official, but the 2008 Prius is getting some rusting and the battery's going bad, so we may end up fixing it, maybe, because, again, I preach that it's worth it to fix these older cars. I may put, like, $3,000 into a new used battery for it. It's possible. Anyway, the Mitsubishi Mirage. So this is like the anti-car car enthusiast car. And why is that? It's small, it's light, it has an underpowered engine, it has a CVT. All things that car enthusiasts, car guys, air quotes, hate. And yet I think this car is worth like blocks of gold. Why? Because these cars last a really long time. They're simple, they're cheap, they're also incredibly efficient, and they also last a long time. Go to Auto Tempest and put the highest search of the highest mileage, and you will find an entire vat of these 2017 through like 2015 Mirages that have lasted hundreds of thousands of miles just because they've worked well, right? Like this one. I'm sure that one has been, where is it? In Illinois, just driving every day, just with its little 3 tri-branger engine, just running down the road. And that's what I think is worth it, right? And it's not just because, I'm dreaming of the non-existent 90s that I wasn't even existing in, right? I'm dreaming of the Geo Metro in my mind. No, But even though that is a value that I accept, that this is, kind of like the 90s shitbox reincarnation today, I just think that this car is great. It'll last you a long time. It's really cheap. It may not be super vroom, 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 crazy car enthusiast, but I think it's still worth something, a decent amount. And overall, is this an anti-car enthusiast car channel? Well, that's for you to decide, right? But for me, my opinion is, no, we just like different cars. You probably like the 2010 BMW 7 Series, and I am enthused about the 2006 Toyota Corolla. Let's give it a round of applause, everyone. Wow, just a fantastic, great car. And again, I do a lot of Toyotas just because they last so long. So with that, thank you for watching. Don't forget to comment, like, and subscribe, and I will see you guys very soon.